Everybody wants to know what's going on with God of War 6. Well, in the meantime, it looks like we may be getting another God of War game before we ever see the light of day with God of War 6. There's rumors swirling around that God of War is getting a wild twist. Could we be heading back to Greece? Could we be doing an entirely different mythos? And today we're going to talk about both. We're going to talk about that whispered spinoff. Kratos actually jumping into a 2D Metroidvania-style adventure. We're also going to touch on God of War 6 a little bit too, with the latest leaks and insider scoops and fan theories. Now, I read your comments. Every single comment on every single video. I get it. Nobody really wants an Atreus-centric spin-off game right now. I hear you loud and clear. Now stick around because in the second half of this video, we're going to dig into the biggest tease of them all. Drop a like, make sure you're subscribed, turn on those notifications, and let's start off with the spinoff, the 2.5D spinoff. Fans caught wind of this. It was a project when Reset Era Insider spilled the beans. Supposedly, the new game is basically going to be God of War times Blasphemous. So, set before Kratos became a god with his brother Deimos now returning. The description suggests an old-school Greek-era adventure with Metroidvania elements. Think Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, or maybe even Hollow Knight, but you have Kratos' blades. Insiders like Tom Henderson and Jeff Grubb have both corroborated here. They chimed in, confirming they hear the same rumblings. Henderson mentioned on Twitter that there was a lot of scuttlebutt about the 2.5D Metroidvania game being much smaller in scale than expected. And Grubb replied with a yeah, which added fuel to the fire. In other words, this isn't some out there fan wish. Two of the biggest industry leakers are on board with this, and that carries some weight. And no, we're not talking about a remake or a remaster of any of the earlier God of War Greek games. We're talking about a brand new Metroidvania 2D, 2.5D God of War game. So what would that even look like? Well, many imagine that it would be in the original trilogy's vein. Colorful, fast-paced, gory, hack and slash. The Reset Era leak specifically places it in Greece. So it'd be pre-God Kratos era. Even teases familiar faces, like I said, like Deimos. If true, this spinoff could revisit familiar Greek places with that old-school art style. Picture Kratos running up temple walls, wielding the blades of chaos in hand-painted environments. I'm cool with that. Fans have already made trailers imagining an Egyptian or Greek Kratos. We've seen them all over the place, but these leaks point firmly to the Greek era. So for this one, Egyptian enthusiast, you would have to wait. But we'll talk about the other game here in a minute. Jeff Grubb's reports on the project cast it as a standalone side story similar to Marvel's Miles Morales. He says to think of it more like a unique side story rather than a remaster. In other words, don't expect just a remixed old game or a full-blown next sequel. It might be closer to a substantial expansion quality type title, but if it plays like a top-tier Metroidvania game like Dead Cells level polish or better, fans are going to love it. And this is the way things happen now. These publishers and developers have figured out if we pull and bring nostalgia in, it holds people over until we get the next big AAA drop. Look at Gears of War. They're doing it. I mean, everybody is doing it. Look at Bethesda and what they're working on. It's give us something to hold us over until you give us the next big part of the franchise. And this would be a perfect way to do it. Get a little God of War action going on until we actually get God of War 6. It makes sense to me. Now, rumors of mythological settings, they're all over the place. The big one, and let's go over and shift over to God of War 6 here, insider Daniel Rickman claims Sony is already casting Middle Eastern actors for an unannounced AAA game, likely to be the next God of War that explores Egyptian mythology. That is the biggest running kind of guess everybody has. That Kratos is definitely going to Egypt. Now, this lines up with a longtime fan speculation. Even God of War 2018 director Cory Balrog once said Egypt was on the table before they chose Norse mythology. So it's very possible that Kratos might march right through the desert and he could be dealing with Ra or Anubis or even more. That would be a huge departure and a massive overhaul since the Norse saga, well, it's in the rearview mirror now. On the other hand, we go back and we shift back to the leaks like the Metroidvania game that focus on Greece, not Egypt. So one way to reconcile that is that the two projects could be in play together. Greek-era Metroidvania spinoff, hold us over until we get God of War 6, which is probably multiple years away. That would be our main lane sequel in the new Pantheon. I mean, Egypt? Maybe Amazonian gods? I don't know. take it all with a grain of salt, but GameSpot Esports reports highlights both angles. Grub hints at a Greek-focused side story, which is our 2.5D, while Rickman's scoop suggests the next big saga definitely looks like it could be Egyptian. Either way, the takeaway is that Santa Monica Studios seems to be ready to shake up the settings. They're going to shake off Norse for something fresh, or for multiple things fresh. Now, I want to go back to Atreus. The question, will he star? We've seen a lot about the Atreus spinoff. We talked about it on the last video, and let's clear the air. Most fans, I don't think they want it. I read your comments. You'd rather see Kratos doing his thing than tag along with his son on a solo mission. So, I mean, so far, the leaks we're seeing lean the other way. Times of India points out that this rumored spinoff could either go back to Kratos' past, which seems more likely because of the Greek mythology, or it could focus on his son, Atreus. And even that site notes that the Atreus spinoff is the less likely path. In fact, all signals say the studio is closing the Norse book for now, and if it's an Egypt or Greece game on the way, that the Norse saga and all the cliffhangers are likely wrapped up. Now, for what it's worth, the only Atreus-related rumor so far was more of a vague mini-sequel idea that's gone completely silent. Meanwhile, insider leaks emphasize Kratos, Greek past, possibly God of War in a Metroidvania format, and of course AAA God of War 6 going to Egypt. So we were thinking no Atreus game anytime soon. If anything, we might get a cameo or a hint of him. But the clear message from both Reddit fans and insiders is keep Kratos front and center. And I think that's the way you have to go. The question is, though, are we not going to bring his son with us to Egypt? That's a video for another day. Now let's talk about the timeline. When do we expect any of this? Remember how short modern marketing cycles are here. Capcom announced RE9 only 8 months ago before release. So if Sony is planning a mini-scale God of War spinoff, they probably won't keep us waiting years. That said, since nothing official came at Summer Game Fest or State of Play, it's probably still early. Many analysts guess an announcement could hit in early 2026 with a release later that year or even 2027 depending on the dev speed. So why would it take so long? I mean, spinning up Metroidvania with Kratos, it takes time, even if it's smaller than a AAA epic. If development started in 2024, then a 2026 or 27 release window would be reasonable. That's about a 2 to 3 year cycle. Also, Sony has other big titles on deck. Wolverine, Yoshi, so they might space things out. God of War 6. So my best guess is look for official word sometime early 2026 on this spinoff, then probably a late year launch, maybe early spring of 2027. I mean, look for casting calls, teaser hints. We'll keep you guys covered if anything new breaks. When it comes to God of War 6, I think we're 3 years out. I think we're at least 2 to 3 years out. So to recap here, nothing confirmed but multiple credible leaks paint the picture. We have reports of a God of War spinoff, very likely Greek themed, in 2.5D Metroidvania style. And Jeff Grubb suggests it'll be a unique side story, think Miles Morales, so should be a fresh written story. Separately, we know that Sony is eyeing Egyptian mythology for God of War 6. Now on the fan side, people have been buzzing about alternate settings, South America and others, but the big name rumors stay the same, Greece and Egypt. And once again, I know, we don't want an Atreus-only game. So it looks like Santa Monica probably saw that, took it to heart, and all the leaks, they're focusing on Kratos, whether it's in flashbacks or in new lands. So for now, it seems like the future of God of War on PS5, maybe PS6, is Kratos in a whole new light. Maybe fighting gods of new pantheons. We'll see. Until Sony or Santa Monica confirm anything, it's all a grain of salt, of course, but it's fun to cover and see what's happening. But if you're a God of War fan, looks like you're going to get multiple games in the coming years. I hope you guys have a great day. Leave your comments. I'll be reading them as always, and I'll see you soon.